Remember when First Contact felt like a religious experience, not a disaster, not a war, just an invitation. Richard Dreyfuss as an ordinary man who couldn't explain what was happening to him. François Truffaut, the great French director, as the scientist who believed. And John Williams, writing 5 notes that became the most recognizable musical greeting in cinema history. What most people never knew, NASA wrote Spielberg a 20-page letter begging him not to make the film. 6 major stars turned down the lead, and the alien Spielberg couldn't stop thinking about on set became E.T. 5 years later. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. 16 facts, including the ending Spielberg wrote before he had children and has never been able to change. Fact 1. NASA wrote Spielberg a 20-page letter begging him not to make the film. It had the opposite effect. He had reached out to NASA and the U.S. Air Force, hoping for cooperation. Both read the script and declined. NASA went further, a formal letter warning him not to make the film at all. Their concern: Spielberg had already convinced millions of people there were sharks in every swimming pool. They feared he could do the same with UFOs. His response: "If NASA took the time to write me a 20-page letter, then I knew there must be something happening." Neither agency participated. Both inadvertently made the film more interesting. Fact 2. Steve McQueen said no because he couldn't cry on cue. Then 5 more said no. McQueen liked the script and turned it down. He believed the role required an actor who could cry on cue, something he knew he couldn't do convincingly. After McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Gene Hackman, James Caan, 6 major stars, 6 rejections. By that point, the director was running out of famous names and about to discover he already knew the actor he needed. Fact 3. Richard Dreyfuss talked his way into the role by sabotaging the competition. Dreyfuss heard Spielberg discussing the project on the Jaws set and launched a quiet campaign. He walked past Spielberg's office, dropping comments. "Al Pacino has no sense of humor. Jack Nicholson is too crazy." Dreyfuss: "I eventually convinced him to cast me." 6 household names had already said no. Dreyfuss talked his way past all of them. Fact 4. François Truffaut accepted the role to research a book about acting. He never wrote the book. Truffaut was nervous about appearing in a large Hollywood production. He agreed specifically because he wanted to observe professional actors at work and compile the material into a book on acting. He completed the film, gave a quietly remarkable performance, and never published the book. Fact 5. The main set was built inside a World War II airship hangar. It was 6 times larger than any Hollywood soundstage, and it generated its own weather. The decommissioned hangar at Brookley Air Force Base in Mobile, Alabama, was the only structure large enough. The interior was so vast and humid that clouds formed near the ceiling. On at least one occasion, it rained indoors. A lightning strike severely damaged the soundstage during production. The crew built an entire mountainside inside it, using only 12 basic boulder shapes at varying angles. A location so large it had its own climate. Fact 6. The aliens in the final sequence were 56-year-old girls from Mobile, Alabama. Spielberg chose girls because they moved more gracefully than boys. The production had attempted alien puppets. The puppets failed. Local children were cast instead, specifically girls. Their movements were not choreographed. The most recognized alien sequence in the film involves no special effects at all. Just children from Alabama walking slowly in the dark. Fact 7. Carrie Guffey was 3 years old and had never seen a film. The director used a gorilla, a clown, and a wrapped present to direct him. To get genuine wonder, a gift was unwrapped just off camera. Guffey smiled and said, "Toys, toys." That was the take. To get fear, he was surprised with a clown and a man in a gorilla suit. The fear was real. When the gorilla removed its head and revealed a familiar face, Guffey burst out laughing. That take was kept too. He completed so many scenes in single takes that the cast and crew nicknamed him One Take Carrie. Stanley Kubrick later considered casting him as Danny Torrance in The Shining. Kubrick chose Danny Lloyd instead. Fact 8. The scene where Barry is dragged through the dog door was a tug-of-war between his real mother and his screen mother. Guffey's actual mother was placed outside the door. Melinda Dillon, playing Jillian, held him from inside. The 2 women physically pulled the child between them. The struggle visible on screen is not staged. It is real physical force in opposite directions. Guffey called it a tug of war between my real mom and my fake mom. That sentence is the whole scene. A government agency that tried to stop the film and made it more compelling. 6 stars who said no. A 3-year-old who outperformed all of them. Up to here, how it was cast and built. From here, what it cost, what it accidentally created, and what Spielberg has spent 4 decades trying to undo. Fact 9. Columbia Pictures was close to bankruptcy when it agreed to make this film. The studio was betting its survival on a science fiction movie about aliens. Columbia had suffered a series of commercial failures and was under severe financial pressure. The decision to fund Close Encounters at $19.4 million was made under conditions of near desperation. The editing was described as the most difficult of the director's career. Columbia pushed the release to Christmas 1977. The film grossed $306 million worldwide. Columbia survived. Fact 10. R2-D2 is on the underside of the mothership, so is a TIE fighter, and the shark from Jaws. The mothership miniature was built by Greg Gine's team, with ILM handling the effects work. Someone attached an inverted R2-D2 to the hull as a tribute. A TIE fighter sits nearby. The Jaws shark is also there. Spielberg's camera briefly captures the inverted R2-D2 during the climax. The model is now at the Smithsonian, where visitors can find all 3 if they know where to look. Fact 11. George Lucas thought Star Wars would flop. He proposed a bet. Spielberg's share was eventually worth around $40 million. Lucas visited the set convinced Star Wars would fail and proposed swapping 2.5% of each film's net profits. Spielberg agreed. Star Wars earned $775 million. That handshake in an Alabama soundstage was worth an estimated $40 million to Spielberg. Lucas honored it. One of the most consequential informal bets in Hollywood history. Fact 12. Spielberg filmed what was inside the mothership for the 1980 special edition. He regretted it almost immediately. Columbia's condition. Show the interior for the marketing hook. Spielberg shot new footage, a vast cathedral-like space, at $1.5 million. In 1997, I never should have done that. That should have always been kept a mystery. In his 1998 director's cut, the interior was removed permanently. The version he considers definitive is the one where no one sees what Roy found. Fact 13. The alien Spielberg nicknamed Puck was built from photographs of a 3-year-old child's face. Spielberg couldn't stop thinking about him on set. Carlo Rambaldi designed the articulated puppet, its expressions modeled on photos of Cary Guffey. The director operated the final articulation himself before Puck returned to the mothership. On set, watching the puppet move, one question kept returning. What if this little guy didn't get back on the ship? 5 years later, that question had a screenplay. Rambaldi designed E.T., the most beloved alien in cinema history, began as a thought on a dark soundstage in Alabama. Fact 14. Spielberg released 3 different versions of Close Encounters. The ending never changed. 3 versions, 1977, 1980, 1998. In every one, Roy Neary boards the mothership. His children stay on the ground. He looks back once. Spielberg removed the mothership interior, rearranged sequences, spent $1.5 million on alterations. He never changed the central act. Roy still leaves. Fact 15. Spielberg said in 2005, he would never write that ending again. Every film he made afterward quietly corrects it. His words, I wrote that blithely. Today, I would never have the guy leaving his family. Peter Pan returns home in Hook. Tom Cruise becomes a better father in War of the Worlds. Indiana Jones stays with his family in Crystal Skull. Every major Spielberg film after fatherhood contains a version of the correction. None of them changed this one. Fact 16. Close Encounters is the film Spielberg wrote before he understood what he was writing about. He was 30. He had no children. He wrote a man who follows an obsession to its end without looking back. The film became one of the defining works of his career, and the one ending he has spent 47 years correcting in every film that followed. He never corrected it here. Roy Neary boards the ship. The door closes, and somewhere in the Alabama dark, the alien that started all of this quietly never came back.